It's a time that a lot of people seem to dread. Time for a new iPhone. Maybe your old one finally bit the dust, or maybe you're just upgrading for the sake of something new. Either way, getting a new iPhone can be a stressful and expensive process. In this video, I'm going to share my strategy when it comes to purchasing a new iPhone. Just a disclaimer, the strategy I share here is geared toward the pricing and structure of iPhone sales, but this will also work when applied correctly to other phone manufacturers. Ultimately, everyone wants the same thing out of their purchase decision. They want a device that will last them a long time with as few issues as possible. The concept here is relatively simple, and you'll see why in a minute. We're basically just comparing the price of the brand new iPhone to its projected lifespan. And if you divide that price by the number of years the iPhone should last, you'll get a rough number of what the phone is costing you per year of use. I found that the sweet spot for most people is around $100 a year. So that means if you buy a $400 phone, it should theoretically last you 4 years. So if the new iPhone 11 costs $700 MSRP and should last roughly 5 years before Apple stops supporting it, you're paying $140 per year that you own the device. So the concept is, if you can find an iPhone, new or used, that gets you to that $100 per year mark, then you found a good deal. Just on a side note, I wanted to expand on how Apple supports their devices. I'll use the iPhone 6 for instance, which stopped receiving support this last fall. This simply means that it's no longer getting the latest iOS update and is hence stuck on iOS 12 forever. The phone came out in 2014, stopped receiving updates in fall of 2019, that's a 5-year difference. Now, you can still use the phone for up to 1 year after that. However, Apple will stop providing security updates 1 year after that last iOS update, which means that your risk of data hack is significantly higher. So theoretically, I guess you could say that you get about 6 years out of a device instead of 5, but don't expect that last year to be stellar when it comes to performance. This is actually a pretty good life cycle for a device. When you compare the Google Pixel, which retails for a similar price but only gets support for 2 to 3 years, or the Samsung Galaxy devices, which may receive support for as long as an iPhone, but the value goes down dramatically after the release of the phone. In a nutshell, Apple pretty much takes the cake when it comes to devices holding their value and lasting a long time. Now back to the strategy. Since it hinges on 2 variables, the price of the phone and the projected longevity, we can only know for certain the price of the phone at its release. Since we don't know how long Apple will continue to support their devices, this makes it a little bit of a guessing game. History tells us that it's roughly a 5-year lifespan before they stop supporting the iPhone, with a few exceptions here and there, like the iPhone 5S. So based with this limited working knowledge, we have to figure out our strategy from here. And no, the iPhone 11 Pro Max will not last any longer since it's more expensive. All the internals are exactly the same, and you're just paying a premium price for a bigger screen and more cameras. So how does this work with a carrier who you might have the phone through? Well, they typically lock you into a plan that charges you $20 to $30 a month to get you on track to pay off that phone within 2 years, which is fine as long as you keep the phone for as long as it'll be supported. But if you upgrade any time before then you're not getting your full money's worth. Now I know that's a lot of info, so how does this look from a real-world scenario? Well, I don't buy my iPhones brand new. I shop around on Facebook Marketplace or eBay to find one that will work on my carrier and is used and is in the right price range. For example, I was recently tasked with helping my mom find a good deal on a new phone. So applying this strategy, I wanted to get her an iPhone XR, which is a year old at the time I was looking for it. It means it should last roughly 4 to 5 years depending on how future updates roll out. Which means if I can find her one for around $400, then I know that's how much I should spend while still getting a good deal. These phones still retail at $600 on Apple's website, so I know that anything roughly $150 below that price point is going to get me a good deal for it. So I shopped around and found that people were typically selling them for about $500, but I was patient with it and eventually found one for $400. And you won't find much lower than that for a phone that still functions and is in great shape, has a lot of life left. I know that's a lot of info in this video, but thanks for watching and please comment below if you have any questions.